the flickering light of Asia, or the Assyrian nation and church. The original land of the Assyrians embraced an area of 250,000 square miles. Islamic powers seized the land and planted Islamic elements in the newly confiscated territory. The name, however, with whatever dialect pronounced, stands as an eternal deed, showing that the house belongs to the Assyrians, and no tribunal of justice can overlook this fact. The Assyrians, however, do not pretend to claim all this original territory, but they do claim that portion of Upper Mesopotamia, where they abound in large numbers. This portion of the land embraces naturally an area which stretches from below the Lower Zaba up to and including the province of Diyarbakir, where the Assyrians vastly outnumbered the Armenians, and also from Euphrates in the west to the mountains of Armenia in the east. Added to this, the Assyrians naturally desire an access to the sea. The Assyrians realize that in all probability the Kurdish elements which reside in the area claimed by them may present a sort of problem that will command attention. Against such a possible observation, we feel that we must present the following memorandum. Morally, there cannot be a discrimination between the Kurds and the Turks. The Kurd must provide. The Kurd proved himself just as inefficient a tool for the aspirations of an imperial Germany, as did the Turks, while the former vastly exceeded the latter in the ferocity and brutality against all the Christians, and particularly against the Assyrians. The crime of one is the guilt of the other. To place an enemy element, which happens to be dwelling in the area claimed by the Assyrians, on the same level with the people that has suffered and suffered gladly, and so heavily in the allied cause, would be to place the criminal on the same level with the innocent, and it would mean lasting injustice to the Assyrians. While it is perhaps just that even the Kurds as a race are entitled to the benefits of the principle of self-determination, if they so desire, but to permit their claim to expand and infringe upon the exclusive right of the Assyrians is to place a premium on plunder, murder, and massacre, so long as there exists religious bigotry and religious fanaticism, and the word gavur is not eliminated from the vocabulary of the Turk or of the Kurd. This Islamic element can never be trusted by the Assyrians. The wild beast is now caged by defeat but not tamed by culture. In order to free the Assyrians from the repetition of the former barbarities to which they have been subjected for centuries by the combined hatred of the Turk and the Kurd, and in order to save their position from being exposed to the previous perils, the reasonable area thus claimed by them, even though including some Kurds within its bounds, must be created into an Assyrian state under the protectorate of some mandatory power. It would be decidedly to the moral, educational, and spiritual advantage of those Kurds, who will thus remain in a newly created Christian state, to receive the benefits of those educational and industrial enterprises which the Assyrians themselves have undertaken to establish. It will be decidedly in the interest of peace, at least in the portion of Asia, as well as to the advantage of the power holding the mandatory authority in the land, and also to the moral and spiritual advantages of all the non-Christian and heterogeneous elements of the entire Mesopotamia, to grant to the Assyrians the new state they desire and embracing by the area they claim. Has the agony of the war given birth to the rights of mankind? If so, the awful sacrifices made meet their equal compensation. Anything short of the righteous and reasonable claim of a people, no matter how weak or how small, is bound to bring another day of retribution. Heaven with sorrow witnessed the tragedy of the war. It now hearkens with yearning to the cry of the small nations, and looks with longing for the enactment of justice to the oppressed people. Therefore, immeasurably greater than the crisis of the war are those which now hang upon the treatment accorded to the weak and the deserving.